Next, could we please have Dr. Laurent to talk about evolving learning styles and sustainable learning.
Thanks a lot. Good afternoon, everybody, ladies and gentlemen. Well, I was thinking that because my friend, the cameraman, was telling me they get bored about, saying on the same picture all the time, I will let you work with me on the trip of immersive technology, if you don't mind, all right? First, I wanted to thank Sarawak Skills, and together with my friend Daryl Tech, from Kuala Lumpur that invited me to talk with you today about that. I am a researcher by trade, and I moved to the dark side of the force later and become an entrepreneur. But I'm focused on using immersive technology on skilled trades. What my colleague, esteemed colleague speakers talk about is more the global vision, and everything is really true today. I will try to dig with you a little bit deeper into what is really immersive technology and why AI and immersive technology can be useful for vocational training. And it is not can be, but has to be. The thing is that, and you know that, today the new generation cannot think as my old way of thinking and learning. You cannot tell them it is like that. They have to do, they have to work, they have to manipulate. You have to let them do it, all right? And how can you let them weld? How can you let them practice in a lab if you don't have the equipment already, and if you're afraid of them making burn the lab, for instance? This is too complicated, this is impossible. So that's where we are coming. We're working in my company since, indeed 20 years, but the company has been created in 2011. So I started before, but immediately when we created this kind of solution, it raised a global interest because there's a shortage of workforce everywhere, and there's a need to find new solutions. So everywhere in the world, we get the same attraction. Today, we're working globally everywhere, Africa, Asia, Europe, a specific focus in the US because most of the technology and digital technology is coming from the US, unfortunately. I mean, nobody, not because it's American. I mean, it should be everywhere. Everybody should be able to do the same thing. Today, there's two big players, China and US, for the digital technology. And so we have a kind of experience of this kind of situation. We met a lot of people. We deployed a lot of solutions in a lot of different places. And that's to say that this is not just innovation. This is not coming. This is something that's happening today. And a lot of vocational training centers already use AI and virtual reality in their daily work. And by the way, Sarawak Skills just started to use it. So it's just something that happens everywhere. There's a lot of wording in that. If I want to sell you the things, I will talk about these fashion things, mixed reality, virtual reality, augmented reality, whatever. All that things for you as a vocational training center. The main concern is immersive learning. The word is very important, immersive learning. We're not talking about just immersive, okay? That's a combination of two technology. Virtual reality, immersive technology. So that's a set of things that move from right to left. Virtual reality, I put you in a world, everything is virtual. I recreate a world that is virtual and looks like real in the headset. You don't see outside. That's one side. And on the other side, you have a world like this world today. I give you a headset, not a headset, glasses, like the glass I have, for instance. And thanks to that, you will see through it. So for instance, one of the features would be nice for me is that I can recognize the face of the people I will meet, and it will tell me, oh, you know him for a while, this is his name. Okay? This kind of things. But for education, it's basically used for training on existing equipment when you have the equipment. So then there's a word that has been used recently that is metaverse. Okay? Metaverse is a fancy word. Again, what does it mean? Metaverse is a combination of concepts. The first thing is that you can be into a world that is persistent. What does it mean? It means that today I have, I don't know, I have a light here. I move the light there, and I shut down the application. I'm leaving, and when I'm coming back the next day, it will be at the right place. It's persistent. It's like the existing world. It's living the same way. And the other thing is that it's collaborative. That means you can be multiple people in the same world. So that's essential, and that's a new feature for education, because a teacher can be in KL, for instance, today, teaching to students that are here in Kuching, and they can be in the same place, in the same virtual world. So they feel they are in the same place, but they are not, you see? So that's, in terms of education, you can think about feature that can really improve the way education is done today. So why do you want to go for an immersive solution? Why this thing is inevitable? You have to go that way. Well, there are different levels of integration, I would say. The first level will be evaluation of talent. Today, there's a shortage of people in the industry, and on the other side, you have kids that doesn't know what they want to do, because most of the time they go through the academic pathway, and we are not evaluating that much their hand skill. We are evaluating the mathematics, language, all that things. But the VR for the immersive learning for this kind of trade skills can detect people that will be talented. And remember that headset can start at 12, so you can put a headset on the head of a kid after 12, let's say. So that means middle school and high school. And at that time, it's a perfect time for the kids to see what's happening. So basically, it's a way to detect skill, evaluate, and make them discover a place, a workplace. Then the second thing will be working safely in an environment that you cannot create. If you have time to try a VR experience in the exhibition room, you will see that we can accommodate a bigger room than here. We can create a work site, a huge work site. We can create a lab, a huge lab. We can create a plant, and we can make the workers work together in the plant to produce a virtual product. So that's for the school that needs to reinvent themselves, but that needs also to pay attention to the funding, to the investment. That is the key. The school can have a full place for training, a full workshop, completely in virtual. And finally, what I was saying about collaborative, the ability to make that remote, change the way you're teaching. It's not something that will replace education, all right? But I mean the traditional education, but it changes the way the teacher will teach. And we talked about the AI, and we need to talk further about that here, because AI can also help in improving the role of the teacher in this virtual, remote world. So I give you just 3 examples for you to see how it looks like. I give you some example of how it is today. So I was talking about chemistry. You see here a chemistry lab. So it looked like a real lab. We call that a digital twin. It's a twin in virtual of an existing lab. And basically, through the headset, the student can go in the lab, practice like in reality, make mistake, cut his finger, burn the lab if he's doing something wrong, like in reality. And we will evaluate what he's doing. And he can work together with colleagues. On the other side, you have something more hands-on, precise motion, very professional product for spray painting. A different approach. For chemistry, the idea is more manipulation, but sequence of manipulation to understand how to proceed. For spray painting, it's really body motion. So you have something that look like a spray painting machine, and you will spray paint. And basically, what we're doing there is just evaluating the way you're moving. So if I'm standing still, I take the gun, what everybody's doing at the beginning, and I'm painting like that, immediately the teacher can say, okay, you're not a painter, all right? A painter will stand, stable and will move like that to paint, which make a huge difference. So only by showing you that, you understand the power of the tool just to evaluate the skill. Before someone comes to me and say, I am a skilled painter, I have 20 years of experience, I know exactly how to paint. But how can I know? I don't have any equipment to validate that. Now I can tell them, okay, play with the VR headset. Let's see, just have a look. So you see, that product is probably one of the most sold, together with welding. Welding is probably the bigger area, but painting is too quite big. I just gave you some figure here, but you can see here 90% of the cost is saved. And when I'm saying the cost, it's not the cost of the raw material, it's the cost of education in general, meaning how much time it takes to train, how you will train, and all that things. So that's a huge benefit, and sometimes it even creates a training center. There are some places where they were not able to teach, they create the training center, thanks to this VR equipment. And I'm not saying again, I'm not telling you that everything is done in VR, okay? That's part of the training. For spray painting, it's a big part, but that's part of the training. The rest has to be done in real. And when you are a training center, how to do that without buying an equipment is to partner with industry. So industry player, they will be happy because they will have fitted people, and you can do a kind of internship or a contract with the industry to combine your VR training together with the real training in the workshop. So I was telling you immersive learning. We talked about immersive technology. Second word is learning. Learning is data analysis, and understanding what's behind and how to fit with the learning, the need of learning each individual. So that's where we have a huge use of AI, because AI works on data. And if you have data, tracked information, then you can play with that. What do I mean by that? I mean that if you are a VR headset, you have a game in the VR headset, stays a game. If you want to turn that into an immersive learning experience, you need to track what the people are doing and analyze, for instance, for the spray painting, the hand motion, the orientation of your hand, body position. That's our data that will be collected. So we're using a cloud platform for that, that collects all the data. It's an open cloud platform, so anybody can connect. And the teacher will be able to understand this data. The AI will help the teacher to process this data, and then they will be able to understand and better understand what each student is doing. So I'm really talking about individual tracking. This is just one example of how it looks like. The aim here is to evaluate skills. I don't know if some of you knows about micro-credential concept, but it's really aligning with that. You know, today the future of vocational training is to work on this concept of micro-credential. So you will really analyze each skills, elementary skills through a micro-credential. And VR is very well fitted for that. So we can analyze your concentration, your notion of space, your understanding of the principle of the process, all that things can be micro-credential. And it can be individualized for each student. A teacher cannot follow 20 students at the same time. He has to go from one student to another. So the immersive learning enables him to be ubiquitous, to be behind every student. And then the AI will translate that in words and say to the teacher, oh, look, Tom had a big problem today. It's unusual. You should have a look and talk with him. You see? You see the power of the combination of immersive experience and AI, that data analysis. I would say that that's what creates the more transformation into vocational training, is probably led by this micro-credential approach, because we're talking a lot about skills assessment and individual skills assessment, and this technology really rely on that. There's a lot of data that need to be tracked. That means that you need to deal with individual protection. You know, this data should not be shared to everybody. So there's in Europe something that is called the AI Act, the GDPR that everybody knows. There's a lot of regulation and policy that start to come around that. But you need in the future to collect this data to be able to change the way the education is done and to make it fit with the needs of the economy. And that's why we created MIMBUS Academy. MIMBUS Academy is really something that we focus on. And today, if you have just one thing to remember of what I'm saying today, is don't buy headset alone. Okay? You need to understand what you need to do. You need to plan what you want to do, understand how it will change the way you're teaching, and then you need to train your trainers. The TOT is essential. You don't use any VR headset, any immersive learning tool without training the team before. And what's happening today, what we see everywhere in the world today, is that people are buying thousands of headsets, give the headset to the teacher, and say to them, okay, find a way to use it. You know, like the smartboard I bought to you 10 years before. Now do the same with the VR headset. That thing will never work. I told you we did that since 20 years. It's 0% of success. If you teach efficiently to the team how to use it, how to select the content, how to integrate that in their training, then it works. And that's why we create this micro-certification backed up by the International Labour Organization, by UNEVOC, by European Training Foundation. So it's really something that makes a difference. And just to end up with this one, I think tomorrow is today. That's what I said at the beginning. You need to think that this technology works. It is deployed today. You can try it on Sarawak Skills booth. You will see that it's working. It has to be powered by the AI. It has to become simpler, because today, the headset, how to set it up or to run it is too complicated. It has to be connected, so the Wi-Fi network has to run, which is not the case everywhere. And matter of price, it has to be cheaper. But that is really what every manufacturer of VR headset is on today. You know, Meta is investing a lot. You know, Microsoft is also preparing something that will come very soon that will be a big change maker in this area. So there's lots of things that will come. You cannot say we will not use AI. You cannot say you will not use immersive learning. It has to come. So you need to be prepared. Well, with that, I will invite you to have this experience on the Sarawak booth today or tomorrow. And thank you so much for your attention. See you soon.